let's talk about racing games. But we ain't talking about Mario Kart. Oh no. We're gonna speak about Sonic's racing games. Now, I'm gonna keep the Mario Kart footage rolling so we don't spoil anything about the games. But in this episode of Hedgehog Month, I'm gonna be covering every Sonic racing game, which includes let me think. Sonic Drift, Sonic Drift 2, Sonic Riders, Riders Zero Gravity, Free Riders, All-Stars Racing Transformed, and the upcoming, well, as of now it's upcoming, but Team Sonic Racing, which I'll give my thoughts on of what we've seen so far. So let's roll. No pun intended. Oh boy, Sonic Drift. This wasn't a very good way to introduce the world of Sonic the Hedgehog into the racing category. It's no secret everyone's opinions on the Sonic Drift racing games. They are terrible. Because not only is it on the Game Gear, which is strange, so it makes the music sound awful and the sound effects sound odd, to say the least, but the field of view, like, yeah, the backgrounds are nice because they reference Sonic 1, but just look at this gameplay and tell me it doesn't knock you sick or confuse you. Like, you go far too fast for what's coming up. Like, you can't see what's ahead of you unless you've memorized the whole track and where to turn where, or you just constantly keep eyes on the map at the top, because by the time that it comes to a turn, if you don't know what's coming up, you're going to end up going straight off the side and hitting an invisible barrier, spin out and then lose the race in last place, obviously. It's not fun. Sonic Drift was not a very good game, but for some reason it sold well. Why? Because it's a Mario Kart, it's like a Mario Kart rip-off, and it's got Sonic on it, so I'm assuming all the parents bought it for the kiddies that had a Game Gear at the time, which was a very, very terrible mistake, but it's no secret on everyone's opinion on Sonic Drift. And not only that, there are only 4 playable characters. 4. Sonic, Tails, Eggman / Robotnik, and Amy Rose. That's it. That's the roster. Enjoy. Now, as well as the tiny roster, like, everyone is basically the same, with only certain characters having a different speed by the looks of things, because with my experience with the game, it always feels like Sonic is the fastest, and that everyone else is just a tad bit slower, but if Sonic can keep his drift up perfectly, which is why it's called Sonic Drift, he's unstoppable. He's like a rocket, which is not very fair in competition wise. And also as well, look at this track. This is not the pinnacle of fun, no. See, this is why the Drift series are bad, but the other racing titles got it right, in my opinion. The series of racing games definitely does improve, but I don't know if they're better than Mario Kart or not. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Mario Kart franchise is good, but I prefer the Sonic and All-Stars racing games over them, unless it's Mario Kart DS, which is my favourite racing game of all time. It's fantastic. But yeah, now that we've had a look at the monstrosity of Sonic Drift 1, let's take a look at its sequel. Okay, so Sonic Drift 2. They're basically the same game, apart from Sonic Drift 2 is far better than its predecessor. Simply because there are more playable characters, everything looks so much clearer, but the one problem that I still have with it is that it's seriously horrendous to look at. And not only is it horrendous to look at, but you seriously can't tell when these turns are coming up, because not only does it not load as fast as it does on the first game for some reason, but now there's just far too much shit on the track. It's not fair, really. Now, the plus side is obviously the 7 characters in this game instead of 4, and the 7 being the main roster from before: Sonic, Tails, Robotnik, and Amy, with newcomers of Knuckles, Fang, Knack the Weasel, and Metal Sonic. Now, it's a nice addition to the roster, I'll admit, but the gameplay's not fun because of these items that are just spread everywhere that can just come out of the back of some character at random, and you've got hardly no chance to avoid it. And then when you get to a turn, like I said, you can't tell where you're going. Look at this mess of a game. I can't tell what is happening here. It's not fun at all. Like, look at that. How was I supposed to know that was there? It's a lot of shit, really, this game, and I could not recommend the Sonic Drift series to anybody at all. If you want to get into Sonic racing games, do not start with Drift. Drift is the worst possible game you can play to get into a racing franchise in general. So, now that I've finished having my kettle steamed about these, let's bring up another Sonic racing game which was definitely different, but much better than the Drift titles. I think you all know what it is at this point, because it's no secret the internet sorts. Some people like it, some people hate it. I personally have a very guilty pleasure with the game. I think it's fun, but at the same time it can be pretty bad. So now that we've mentioned it, I think you guys already know what it is, so I'll just cut to the footage. If you didn't guess it, yes, it's Sonic Car, everyone's favourite Sonic racing game to piss on. Now, yes, the game has many flaws, and I mean many flaws, but despite its short length and very, very stupid AI and ways to 100% the game, guys, it's not that bad. Okay, I'll admit, this game is pretty bad, but it's one of those games that you can get a guilty pleasure of playing. Like, yes, this isn't Sonic Boom or Sonic 06 levels of bad, but it's not the greatest thing in the series either. I mean, from what I can tell you right now, it's fucking way better than Secret Rings or Sonic Labyrinth. God forsake that game, Jesus Christ. But more of my opinions on the actual games in another video. But this game, right, so it's a 3D racing game which has very, very odd character models, to be honest, but I like them. I don't know why. I've always had this like strange appreciation for these models because they just look so fucking funny, and they look really cute as well. Like, you look at them from the front, they're adorable, and like the stage design, it's alright. They're very short stages, and there are many shortcuts to take in these stages. It's essentially cheating half the time. But also as well, something that is impressive about this game, yes, it's a Sega Saturn game and nobody likes the Saturn, I'll be honest, but the weather system in this game really impresses me, because not only is it unique to the Sonic franchise in general when it comes to racing or whatnot, but it's a nice touch, because let's say if it's sunny like it is now, then it's just the track's normal, then you can have it at night time, during the day, and then it can be snowing, which makes the lakes freeze, so you can run across them for huge shortcuts. Now, the one problem I have with this game, its unlock system. If you want to unlock a new character, you have to collect every 5 tokens. That made no sense grammatically. All the 5 tokens that are scattered across the map. They are not easy to find if you're playing this for your first time. They are not very easy to find. And what's even worse, if you want to actually commence with the challenge afterwards, you have to get first place. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if the tokens aren't scattered all over the fucking place like the Chaos Emeralds are in Sonic X. It's pants. You have to play the stage over and over 1,000,000 times until you find the locations of them, unless you decide to be a filthy cheater and YouTube it. But when I was playing through this game again recently for this Hedgehog month, I found that, yes, while the tokens get increasingly harder to find, they're not too difficult to find, but getting the first place victory after getting them isn't an easy task, and getting first place during the rival battle to get the new character is not an easy task either, unless you just find every single shortcut and just abuse that to your power. And the unlockable characters include Metal Sonic, Tails Doll, Metal Knuckles, Egg Robot, and Dr. Eggman himself. Now, this is a decent roster, even though Sonic is just the only character you should play, I'll be honest, because not only is he the fastest, because, you know, that's balanced, but he's also the most fun to play as, in my opinion. He feels smooth. Now, don't get me wrong, Tails and Knuckles are basically the same, just a bit slow, and Knuckles has a glide, which is nice. I really like the glide from Knuckles. It feels smooth to control. It's fine. I love it. But then there are characters like Metal Sonic, which you can just cheese. And I mean you can cheese them, because what you can do with Metal Sonic, you can just use him and go across every pond of water for a limited amount of time, which is a huge advantage. What you need to do is, if you get a level that's full of water, play Metal Sonic, because the chances of you winning are even higher. But he doesn't control very well, I'll admit. He feels a bit slippery at times, and also the Chaos Emeralds. If you want to get the true ending of the game, if you could even call it that, you have to get every Chaos Emerald, which works like the character tokens do. There are different gates around the map which require a certain amount of rings to open. The ones that cost 50 rings are usually the ones that hold the emerald, or there are secret paths to take which lead you to an emerald. Now, again, this is the same problem I have with the tokens. You need a first place victory and a flawless run. Now, again, this wouldn't be so difficult if it wasn't, if it wasn't memorizing where they are, getting enough rings in the first place, and anything else, because these little things that are scattered across the map with the star on it, the item boxes if you can call it, it's complete chance what you get from them. Half the time you'll get 5 or 10 rings, that's perfectly fine, and gives you a boost. But these little rainbow pads that was just jumped over then, they will take off all of your rings, or 50 of them, to give you a speed boost. And these, if you don't memorize where they are, can be a huge pain in the neck to avoid. And I mean they can be a pain. And that emerald right there, that's a pain to grab as well, and so is this, because the turning in this game is fucking awful. If you want to turn 90 degrees to the left or the right, you better be far ahead in first place if you want to do that, because when you go around a corner, it's perfectly fine, you can just drift, if that even works for you half the time. But if you want to stand still and do a very sharp turn, you need to praise the mighty Lord of the Dance. That shit will actually make you go fast. Because half the time I have lost a race, and my opportunity to grab a Chaos Emerald or character tokens, because my character will not turn. It takes the piss. And it's something that really deters me from playing the game. But when you do all this, you unlock the secret character of Supersonic. You also get to play Dr. Eggman, and on the secret stage, which is essentially just a Rainbow Road ripoff. But it looks nice. I think it's called Radiant Emerald, which features the game's main theme tune, All Supersonic Racing. Now, that's all fine with me. I don't mind the added bonus of a secret level and the challenge of getting all the Chaos Emeralds for a character. It's nice. It's a nice addition, and it's one that I can't complain with because it adds more replayability. But the game's easily beatable within about an hour if you don't know what you're doing, and if you know what you're doing, you can beat this shit in about half an hour. It's a very short game, and it's a guilty pleasure to most, including myself. So I'm not going to shit on it too much because I actually enjoy it from time to time. And the local multiplayer is pretty bad, but it's passable if you don't own two Nintendo DS's from Mario Kart DS. Because if I wanted to play a multiplayer racing game, I turn to Mario Kart DS because it's fantastic, it's super fun. But other than that, if anyone's willing to play, Sonic and All Stars Racing with me, I'd play that with them. Or from time to time, I might play some things, like Mario Kart Wii, even though I do not like that game whatsoever. It can kiss my ass. I'll explain that in another video if you want to see that. But yeah, so Sonic R, it's good, but it's bad at the same time. It's a guilty pleasure, it's mediocre, but it's still a good time. So, it's a good title for the Racing Saga. But then the game that came next, it took us by storm. Of course, the game I'm talking about is Sonic Riders on the GameCube, PS2, and the Xbox, the OG Xbox, I believe. I'm more than sure it was. But I know it was on the GameCube and PS2 for a fact. Now, why everyone loves this game so much? I'll be honest, I don't know. I have played Sonic Riders to the death of me, essentially, in an attempt to 100% it, which I did. And I'll be honest, I had a pretty good time with it. It's a good game, and it's a good enough time for multiplayer or anything else. It's generally enjoyable. But why everyone says it's the best, I don't know. I don't like it that much. But I can't say for sure now, and everyone can agree with me now. But this intro opening in the sketch style that it's in, it's fantastic. And the game's main theme is pretty good as well. But this is the game that introduces us to the Babylon Rogues, Jet, Wave, and Storm. Now, if I had to talk about the gameplay, it's fine, it's fair at times, and it controls pretty well. It definitely controls best on GameCube in my opinion, because of the way the GameCube controller just feels. Like, I love it, honestly. GameCube controller is the best controller ever made in my opinion, because it's so responsive, it feels so satisfying to use. I just hope Nintendo never lets it die, because it's definitely worthy of being everyone's favorite controller if they give it a try. But the game's story, it's pretty bad. And the final boss, it has you facing off against this big purple marshmallow or some shit. It's yeah, it's not very good. And the in-game graphics as well. Compared to what we saw in the intro opening, you'd not mind the game in the style of that, but then when you see the gameplay graphics, I'll give it this though. The CGI is pretty good. I like the CGI in this game, but the character models need work, the voice acting needs work, and so does everything else, I'll be honest. But it controls fine, it plays fine. It's just got a bad story, really, that's it. And that's all I've got to say about Riders. It gets straight to the point, doesn't waste any time, and it's fun. Moving on. Now this is what I call the pinnacle of an underrated title in the Sonic Racing saga. I like this game a lot. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, the sequel to the original game. Why this game gets shit on so much, I don't know. Now, there are two versions. There are the PS2 version, which uses controller, and the Wii version, which uses motion control. And oddly enough, my favourite version is the Wii version. And I'll be honest, the motion control isn't that great. I've played far better motion control games, especially that use the Wii remote as a racing steering wheel. But this might trigger quite a few people, but I think this game's motion control controls better than Mario Kart on Wii does. Now, the reason why that's going to piss a few people off is because everyone says Mario Kart Wii's motion control is flawless. No, it's not. People, I have the steering wheel and everything, and I can list 1,000,001 different problems with it. I mean, I don't know if it's just the nostalgia talking here, but I played this game a lot when I was little, and I still enjoy it today. I own it on the Wii, I own it on the PS2, and I get more fun on I have more fun with it on the not the PS2, sorry, on the Wii, simply because it's more accessible to me, and I think it's just super satisfying to get it right. Now, using the steering wheel is fine enough, because not only does it allow you to get more accuracy on your turns, but sometimes that doesn't really work because you have the motion sensor blocked, which is a huge downfall when you're playing a game like this. So it's difficult. So if you want a more like fine experience that you won't run into many problems as much, definitely play the PS2 version. But if you want to have a good time that in something that feels really satisfying for what it is, I'd recommend the Wii version. Now, the game's story, it's average. I mean, I've played better games with better stories. For example, Kingdom Hearts. That game is fantastic and it has a fantastic story. A bit confusing at times, maybe that. But at the same time, this game's story is okay, it's passable. And the new gimmick in this game is the Zero Gravity Bracelets, or whatever they're called. I just call them Zero Gravity Bracelets because that's essentially what they are. It's this big rock that is around every character's wrist, which allows them to do a zero gravity drift or flight. Now, what I mean by that is you can make everything go zero gravity for a bit, and then you can do a very hard turn using it, which is I'll admit it's very satisfying to do, and the boost you get after doing it, oh, it's really nice. And then there's also the flight thing that you can do. As you can see on screen now, this is what the zero gravity thing does, and it's super satisfying to use. And the music shift just adds to it even more. But when you do the flying thing, you jump off your board and you fly through the air for a bit. Now, while it doesn't feel as fast if you don't have anything to slide off of, it's still really fun to do and really satisfying to do as well. Which is something this game nails. It's satisfying, which no one ever, no one compliments it for. And I'll be fair again, the voice acting is not the best thing I've ever heard in a Sonic game. No, that goes to Sonic Heroes 100%. Anyone can agree with me on that. I can't find anyone who doesn't not like Sonic the Hedgehog these days. I mean, can we just talk about the performance of Jason Griffith in these games? He's fine enough in these games, but he was definitely better in Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, while Shadow the Hedgehog was his debut game, I believe, I don't know though, because we had Riders and Shadow the Hedgehog in the same year, but I don't know which one came first. Now, in Riders, Griffith is awful as Sonic, but as Jet, he's pretty good. But in Shadow the Hedgehog, as Sonic, he's pretty good. It's a relatively decent performance, but in 06, it's alright. In Secret Rings, it's, again, alright. In this game, it's alright. But then in Unleashed and Black Knight, it's fantastic. But then after that, obviously, they scrapped him for Roger Craig Smith, which I still believe he doesn't fit Sonic. Like, he fits Boom Sonic, yeah. And everyone can agree with me on that. Now, Boom Sonic is Roger. Roger is Boom Sonic. But regular Sonic, like, despite all the design changes we've had for him over the years, that title still goes to Ryan Drummond. Ryan Drummond will always be the best Sonic in my opinion, because I grew up with the Ryan Drummond Sonic games, and they're just like, just listening to him, you know, play our favourite Blue Hedgehog. He just delivers on all aspects. Now, while in Sonic Adventure 1 he might not be that great, and in Adventure 2 he definitely got better, but there's still room for some improvement. In Heroes, he was just phenomenal with his performance. That is my Sonic, but then they scrapped him because of some stupid change or whatever for 4 kids, and it was just confusing, which is something Sega never should have done. Like, we need Drummond back, we really do, but oh well, they made their change. Now, so far we have Drift, which is bad, Drift 2, which is bad, Sonic R, which is good / average. And then we've got Riders, which is good. And then we've got Zero Gravity, which is really good. So, what does the next game that I'm going to talk about do terribly wrong that really steams my kettle? Oh, I'm going to tell you, alright. I'm using someone else's gameplay for this because I do not want to play this game. This game is bad, it's really bad, really bad. It's super shitty with its stupid fucking Kinect gimmick, I don't know what to say. Oh, here we go. Sonic 3 Riders is just the pinnacle of what not to do in a racing game. Oh my, for fuck's sake. This game could have been something fantastic. If they stuck with the core gameplay they established in the other 2 games, this would have been a really good game. But nope, you gave us bad level design, and you used the Xbox 360's Kinect as a way of controlling. Why would you do that? It controls like shit. And the graphics are alright, I guess. I mean, they're pretty good. The intro cutscene looks good, and the soundtrack is really good actually. Like, why is this a thing with Sonic games? Why does the bad games always have the best soundtracks? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the soundtrack to Unleashed and Generations as well, but I mean, Sonic 06 is, you know, like, Sonic 06's soundtrack is better, in my opinion, but I'll talk about that another day probably. But, oh my, I hate this game. And the fact that they even give you an option for that. Okay. And more evidence that nobody likes this game is that you will not find a single long play of this game on YouTube. And even the menu is terrible. You're trying to use it and it's... Oh my god. And this story! People believe this is an Eggman. This guy... Yeah. Oh my days. So King Doc of Touareg Mania in quotation marks. This is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. Like, no one figures this guy out straight away. Now, he hosts a racing competition, you know, because he's never hosted a racing competition before, Sonic Car, or hosted anything else similar to this. But Jesus Christ. He says there's going to be a big cash prize bribery like he did with Team Chaotix in Sonic Heroes, and
did you folks hear that?
The story's bad, the voice acting's pretty bad. Shadow got a new voice actor and it sounds shit.
So hurry up, grab those gears and come
like, oh my god.
and I'll see you at the race.
If you guys really want to know why nobody likes this game, go into your local game shop that has like games on the 360, and I bet you any money you will find a copy of this game on the shelf. because nobody wants to buy it because they know how bad it is. It's terrible. Like, if you guys really want to buy it, like the only way I'd recommend this game to anyone is if they wanted to buy it out of curiosity, not because they want to play it because it looks good. Curiosity, because simply you will not have fun with this game. I can tell you any money now, you would have more fun with Shadow the Hedgehog than this piece of shit. Do not play it, and that's all I'm gonna say. I do not like this game. I don't want to say anything else about this game. Let's move on to an actually good racing game. Finally, a racing game that's actually good and it's a racing game! This game is fantastic! Oh my lord, I'm so happy to say that. It has Sonic characters and other Sega All-Stars, as the title implies, racing in vehicles. You heard me right, folks. There are fucking vehicles this time. So you know it's a racing game. This game was released on the PS3, the Xbox 360 and Steam, and the Nintendo DS. And oh boy, nostalgia is through the roof with this game. Now, let me talk about this. The game isn't story driven like the others. It's just a simple racing title, which is what the other games didn't do correctly. It's a racing game, it doesn't need a story. We're here to have a fun time with racing cars, or whatever the fuck anyone else is driving, and that's it. And this game delivers a fantastic experience, because it's packed with references from other games, other characters from other lesser known Sega games, as well as the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, which was its main selling point. And the character roster is pretty big. But the only downgrade is the shop. I feel like the shop to buy the characters and everything else was unnecessary, but everything that's crammed into it is fantastic. This game just feels like a callback to Sonic Heroes because it contains references to Seaside Hill, Ocean Palace, Final Fortress, Egg Fleet. It's all over the place with its Sonic Heroes references. Casino Park as well. But I'm not going to complain. I love Sonic Heroes. I love its soundtrack. That's another plus on my side. My favourite character to play is hands down Shadow because his bike is super light, it's super nice to control, it's fast, and you can just dominate with him once you figure out how to perfectly control him, which is something this game rewards. It awards you learning for yourself. This game won't hold your hand like the other games would do. It wants you to learn for yourself and it wants you to practice, and if you do that you are rewarded tremendously with the satisfaction of a constant first place victory while still being challenged. You do not want a game that is still too easy, and if there's one thing I can say, the power-ups need work. Like, they need work. I mean, yeah, they're fine enough, but like, what's the point of the rainbow? It does nothing. Like, there's some odd choices here, but yeah, they're fine, I guess. They're passable. And the stage, like the course designs, they're pretty good. The game looks good as well. It sounds good. But then there's one thing I also want to bring up. I want to talk about this game's DS counterpart for a minute. This is the version of the game that I easily have the most playtime on. Now, I own this game on the Nintendo DS, on the PlayStation 3 and on Steam. Now, out of all the versions, the Steam version is the superior version, obviously. It runs better and it looks better as well, because it's on Steam and PCs have better capabilities than the PS3 did. But the PS3 version runs good enough. But the DS version it's always been a strange one to me, because while it's still extremely fun, to me it feels far too much like Mario Kart DS. Now, that isn't necessarily a bad thing, but no, not by any means, because I love Mario Kart DS, but they are eerily similar in my opinion, because they both control roughly the same, but at the same time, like, it's not different from the console or Steam release, because it has the same roster and it has the same stages, but the soundtracks are different. And while they are different in their own little Nintendo DS style remix, they sound really fucking good. And my favourite especially, because this is one of my favourite stage music of all time in video games, and in general this remix is really good. The Final Fortress stages music in this game, oh my lord, Final Fortress DS edition the music is just wow, it's really, really good for a DS title. But the one thing that really throws me off the most about the game is its differences to the console version. Now, there aren't that many differences, but the one thing that intrigued me to play this game more is the Sega Miles license. Now, the other game had this, but there was nowhere near as much emphasis on it as there is in this game. Simply because, for one, it doesn't fit a console game, but in this version of the game, it fits. And for a DS game, this looks really good. And it controls really good, especially with D-pad. And if you play this on a 3DS, like, wow, it's super smooth. And the game runs really smooth as well. Like, look at this gameplay, look at how smooth it is. And the items, yeah, they're the exact same, and they don't really control any differently by any means, no. But, wow, Jesus Christ, for a DS port, this is fantastic. But the drifting is it's a bit weird. The drifting on the DS version doesn't feel very satisfying at all. But getting it right, yeah, it's satisfying, especially when you have a full level boost. But the one thing that throws me off the most about the game is it's too basic on the DS. Like, nothing, like, the animations aren't stretchy, the character models are a bit odd. I mean, yeah, I know it's a racing game, so it's going to have a lot of, you know, pixels, polys, whatever going into all the other things, but look at Mario 64 DS compared to this. It looks so much better. I mean, yeah, it's very pixelated, but this looks like Minecraft sometimes. Like, look at this floor design. Slow it down or pause it and look at the floor. It looks like something you could build in Minecraft. Please, someone do that. I will actually play that. Sonic and All-Stars Racing in Minecraft. I would play that. But in all seriousness, the DS port's fantastic. I don't care what anyone says to me. This version of the game, despite what it actually is, it is brilliant. And the one thing as well that really makes me come back to the game is, like I said earlier, the license. The more you play and the more you beat of the game, your license will gradually you'll gradually gain a different colour for it, which I think it starts like silver and it goes all the way up to platinum or something like that. And just the way you can get the max points on it, it just feels really satisfying once you've done it. And all the challenges to complete as well. The challenges are packed into your license to look at instead of being its own mode. On the console version, there's a challenge mode which makes you, you know, you play a bunch of different challenges and get stars. But in this game, you complete challenges on your own and you do all these other things. And you can even customize your gameplay experience if it feels a bit too long for you, which is really good. And yes, the shop's back, and it's not as great as the one in the console version, but it's still passable. Like, shit me, this is probably the best port of a console game that I've ever seen on a DS. But I may say Shadow has been nerfed in this version of the game, and the Eggman is actually the best character because he just feels super fast for some reason. But hey, it's not my game, it's not my choice. But that's all I gotta say for this game. Fantastic, and its DS port is really good as well. Oh, now this is usually the one I see people talk about the most. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. And I can see why people talk about this one the most and say it's the best. I have a really good time with this game. Like, this game's really fun. And not only are the visuals fucking stunning on this game, but it controls really nice. The character roster is tremendously improved. The stages are tremendously improved. And while a lot of people give this game shit for copying Mario Kart 7, I can rub this game in Mario Kart 7's face. Now, the reason why I said this game completely shits on Mario Kart 7 is because, right, let me get this straight first. Mario Kart 7 was released before this game, and Mario Kart 7 uses the same premise of, you know, when you're on the ground, you're a car, and then you can transform into a plane and into a boat. Now, why is this game better and more original? Because it had the idea first. And this is something that the game has in its favour. Although Mario Kart 7 released first, this game was in development longer and it had the idea first. Which shows that Nintendo wasn't original for once. Or that, you know, it was a strange coincidence, but I'm going with Nintendo, it wasn't original, because I think this game was at the E3 beforehand, and Nintendo thought, I bet we can top that because we're fucking Nintendo and Mario is our selling point. Or however Japanese people speak, that's just me doing a stupid accent. But, this game's really fucking fun, and when I mean it's really fun, I mean it's really fun. Now, the drifting has been vastly improved. The character roster has been improved, and it's more balanced. Now, there are. Well, how am I going to word this? You have noticed, if you have played the game, that the title was changed from Sega All Star to just All Star, because they included different characters that weren't Sega, because they included Danica Patrick from Hot Wheels, which was a very strange decision. I mean, Jesus, and she's the worst NASCAR driver I've ever seen. But there was also Wreck-It Ralph, which I think is fair because Sonic was in the movie, so I think Wreck-It Ralph deserves a spot in his game that came out after the movie. That's fair. And then you've also got other characters that are from, you know, the PC exclusive characters like the Yogscast, Football Manager, the Team Fortress 2 guys, you know, all those other exclusives, which is why the PC version is the best, because not only does it run the best and it sounds amazing, but it has really good input, especially on a keyboard, and it's got a more variety in terms of its roster, which I think is a huge plus. And you don't even have to play the World Tour mode to get them unlocked. It's just there on the get-go, which is really nice, and it's for the exact same retail price. Now, something that I didn't mention before about the Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing is that the Xbox 360 version is probably your best bet, because the Xbox 360 version had a bonus character of Banjo and Kazooie, and that's simply because Banjo Kazooie is an Xbox 360 game, which is something that, you know, is fun. But the PS3 version didn't get anything, and I believe the Wii version got something, but I can't remember. But the PS3 version, we were left alone, sadly. But other than that, this game is really good. Like, it looks fantastic, the courses are fantastic, the character is fantastic. The power-ups are very much improved, and also there are these mods that you can get for your character's vehicles now. They're not groundbreaking, but all they do is like they shift what your control is. Like, you've got the normal mode. Let's say Sonic's got 5 on his speed, 3 on his acceleration, 2 on his handling, 1 on his boost, and 3 on his all-star. And if you get the boost power up, that would increase the boost by 2, and possibly increase the speed as well by just a little bit, or decrease the acceleration maybe. It's very nice how they've added that. It's one of those small features, but it's a nice one. And the soundtrack as well. Oh my lord, this game's soundtrack is a lot catchier, and especially its main theme, it's much more catchy than the original. But can I just say, as much as I love him as a character, they raped Shadow in this game. He is not good. He's not fun. Now, not only did they get rid of his motorbike from Shadow the Hedgehog in this game and replaced it with a gun truck of all things. Not like a truck with guns, but it's like an armored vehicle with the GUN logo on it from Sonic Adventure 2. They really nerfed him in this game, and for good reasons too. They nerfed Eggman as well, which I guess is fair. But this game was released on the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the Nintendo Wii U, which people say it's best on Wii U, but I think it's best on Steam simply because of all of its extra content. But regardless, this game is fantastic, and it's potentially the best. I really can't decide on it between this game and you know, Sonic and Sega All Stars. But then the next game, which is going to be the most recent game, which comes out at the end of 2018, this has got me really excited yet nervous, because it's going to take a lot to top this game, which I'm going to just give a quick discussion about my thoughts on it so far. But I'm not gonna delay. Let's go. Now we have the new game coming out at the end of this year, Team Sonic Racing. Now I have concerns here. Like, the game looks beautiful, don't get me wrong, and the vehicles in this game look really cool, especially Shadow's car. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's peng. But the power-ups in this game are the wisps. That instantly is concerning for me, because I thought the wisps were a one-time thing, guys. Like, come on, stop bringing them back. It's not original at all, really. And there are also inclusion of rings, which I don't understand at this moment of time, but it looks odd, to say the least. It's coming on Nintendo Switch, PS4 and Xbox One. Now, why is this concerning? Because it takes the concept of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, mashes it with Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Sonic Heroes. Now, this isn't a bad thing necessarily, not by any means, but it's strange because we have Team Sonic as a playable team, which is cool because it's heroes, and then we have Team Rose and Dart returning. But Team Rose, instead of cream, we've got cheese, the Chow, or just any random Chow, which is odd. And then we've also got Team Vector, which is Vector, Blaze, and Silver. Which I don't know why they're calling it Team Vector and not something like Team Sol, but hey, I'm not one to judge. But the thing that really confuses me about this game is the concept, because it feels like you rely on your team to win. Now, this could be good for online matches, but very, very bad for local, because if you rely on your team to give you the boost or whatnot, it's it could be messy. Now, as well, like, I don't know what the premise here is. I don't get it. Like, does your team have to come in first place? Like, do you, and let's say I'm playing Team Sonic, do you, Knuckles, and Tails have to be in the top 3? I'm confused. Now, judging by what I've seen in the gameplay footage, to get first place as a team, because you have to play as a team, you have to have all 3 of your characters come in a certain position, because let's say if I get first place, I'll get 10 points. But if my other team members come in 5th, like, they'll get 5 points, and if the other one comes in 8th, they'll get 2 points. That gets totaled up together to form a grand score, and whoever has the highest at the end wins. This can be a disaster for team gameplay, especially in local multiplayer, or even just regular multiplayer with the AI, because if your AI team members are absolutely demented in terms of their racing ability, or they are just plain retards, you are not going to win, simply because, like, that you need to all get in a good position. And can I just say that the gameplay, despite it being a Sonic exclusive racing title, it looks very slow paced, like very slow paced. What I think it's doing is, I think it's taking emphasis on the rings to give you speed, like you do in Mario Kart 8, which is a little bit silly, but I'm not going to complain. It adds more variety, I guess. But the one thing that I really, really like about this game, by the looks of things so far, is the stages. They are all references to past Sonic games, if not a couple of brand new ones. And some of these references being Rooftop Run from Sonic Unleashed, Tropical Resort from Sonic Colors, Holoska from Sonic Colors. I think I saw something from Sonic Heroes. I think it was Seaside Hill, because why wouldn't they bring it back? And the playable character roster just looks pretty good. I mean, you've got the main characters, and then also as well you've got Eggman with 2 of his robots. Now, something really, really odd that I saw in the Rooftop Run stage is the Sonic balloon. There is a balloon for some characters, and they are perfectly fine, they're normal. But the balloon for Sonic is Classic Sonic, which is worrying for me, because I do not want another modern Sonic game that has Classic Sonic in it. I mean, yes, in Sonic Forces they essentially told us that we're going to see Classic Sonic again, because Sega needs the fundings and they won't bring the audience back without Classic Sonic, I guess. But it's just, if you're going to tease Classic Sonic as a balloon and then at last second implement him, I do not want that. I do not want Classic Sonic in the game. If I want to play a Classic Sonic game, I'd play Sonic Mania or go back to the classic games. It's as simple as that, Sega. Make no 2D Sonic games. Leave Christian Whitehead to it, or even let him develop your next 3D title, because for fuck's sake, he can probably do a better job than you guys can. Now, back to the speculation. Why is this worrying? Like, why am I worried about this game? It looks fine, like, the graphics are gorgeous, the soundtrack is really good as well, but the gameplay just looks horrendous. You have to rely on your team to win. This can be bad, and your team leaves behind this trail, and if you boost in it in the right way, you are going to get a huge boost which allows you to catch up in the race, which is fine enough. But I really don't understand this. Why won't you just make another bog standard 3D Sonic game similar to Unleashed or Generations? Or fucking Colors for that. Like, instead of teasing us with the Wisps as a power-up, why don't you just either remaster Colors for the fans, because that's what we want, or you could just make another 3D Sonic game in the style of Sonic Colors but without the Wisps. Like, Sonic Unleashed styled, but At the same time, more emphasis on Colour's gameplay. I'm sure more people would want to buy that than another racing game. It makes no sense. But, oh well. If this game turns out to be something great and better than the other racing games, then I'll be shocked and I'll give Sega a round of applause and stop doubting them from now on with the racing titles. But I don't want another racing game. I want a solid, enjoyable and fun 3D Sonic experience, similar to the likelihoods of Generations and the daytime stages in Sonic Unleashed. That is what type of Sonic game I flock to. I do not want a racing title or a 2D Sonic title. I want ground 3D boost gameplay done perfectly in terms of its speed, like Sonic Unleashed, done good in its control like it was in Sonic Generations, and not done as bad as it was in Forces. Thank you for watching this video on the Sonic racing games. It's been a blast to record this and revisit these games, and also to speculate about the upcoming title, because I'll be honest, I don't know what to expect for this game, but I can only pray and hope that it's going to be a good game. But from what I've seen, it looks relatively disappointing, but you never know. From what we can see in the future, it might be promising. Like I said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to slap a like on the video. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're all enjoying Hedgehog month so far, and I guess I'll see you all in the next video of mine, whenever that may be. Have a wonderful rest of your Hedgehog month, and I will see you all later. Take care. Peace out.